This is Let's Talk About Magnum PI, the podcast from fans for fans of Magnum PI.
Hello guys! Welcome to Let's Talk About Magnum PI for what I think is a special episode.
It's a very special episode.
So, as usual, I'm Eve. And this is Liz. And we have a very special guest for you guys, which got me very nervous, very excited. We've run into a little bit of technical issues, so we weren't on our usual platform, so everything is a little bit different, everything is a little bit new, but it's amazing, I think.
Yeah, it is. And we really hope that you guys enjoy it.
So, you all have seen the name. If you have watched Hawaii 5-0, you've seen the name for over 10 years now. Well over 10 years now.
Yeah.
It happened to come up in the beginning of every episode. It still comes up in the beginning of every episode of Magnum PI. Because we have none other than the guy who's responsible for the reboot.
Peter Lenkov.
The showrunner, or who used to be the showrunner on Magnum PI. And without further ado, let's get into this wonderful interview. Let's start with Liz's first question, I guess.
Okay.
So, I know you're a Montrealer, and so am I, at heart.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait,
it's been a while, probably.
Where in Montreal are you from?
From NDG.
Oh,
so,
wow.
from really in the city, yeah. I think you grew up more, like, in Laval area, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the question I always get asked when, find out Montreal bagels is always the, top question. So do you have a preference between Fairmount and St. Viator? That's always the...
I thought you were going to say that. Probably Fairmount, only because it's right near Walensky's. So it's easy to get to. It's just a couple steps up from Walensky. So usually I hit Schwartz's, then Walensky's, and then go up and get a few bagels at Fairmont. But St. Viator, they're the same. I think I've ordered from both. I had them both shipped out. They're great stale. They're great fresh. They're those two places make the best bagels in the world, I think.
They really do. And if you can get them outside of Montreal, shipped out, then it's a real treat for sure.
Yeah. I always get them shipped out and freeze them, so they're great.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Anytime anybody comes to town, it's gotta stock up a couple dozen bagels.
That's funny.
They're probably not shipping to me, though.
No, they ship pretty much anywhere.
Yeah, they ship anywhere.
Even to Germany.
Maybe.
Gotta try that one.
If not, I'll send them to you.
So the show brought a lot of people together.
We got the bagel question out of the way, which is...
Yeah, we got the bagel question out of the way. Let's go to the show that we're here to talk about. So the show brought a lot of fans together. There was so many international fans that came together. We have someone from South Africa, Netherlands, a lot of people from the US, Canada, UK, Italy, France, Portugal, Germany is a lot of people like me, Canada, a lot of friendships. What do you think about? Did you think you'd get so many people engaged and connecting by making this little show? Or not little, it's huge.
Certainly not little, yeah.
Well, that's very kind to hear that. I don't think you think about that when you're hoping somebody will watch. I don't think you're thinking where they're going to be watching it from. You're hoping it resonates, it lands with people, that people are engaged by the characters. So the fact that you're telling me that all around the world, look, we get statements that tell us where the show is sold, but those are just numbers. When I hear people's names and I hear accents and I hear the different countries that people respond to the show, that's a great surprise. It's you always want to reach people, and the fact that you can reach a worldwide audience so quickly, it's amazing. So if you're asking me if I expected it, no. Do I take it for granted? No. Does it thrill me? Absolutely.
Yeah, and the response across the world, especially after the cancellation, massive. And
yeah,
thank you so much for engaging with all of us and keeping us calm to a certain extent. I mean, a lot of your tweets gave a lot of us hope during the save, because it felt much longer than it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, there were a lot of people working behind the scenes to keep it alive. So
yeah. I think I
very
haven't
impressive.
I think I didn't have a good night's sleep during the entire save, thanks to the constant tweeting.
It's amazing because it's just a TV show, you know, and it's the fact that it had that reaction on you, and I'm guessing it had a reaction like that on other folks. It's amazing. It makes, and you know, there's so many people that make a TV show, but it makes it really worth it beyond the satisfaction of seeing it get made. The fact that it affects you like that is such a bonus.
Yeah, I mean, Elizabeth and I met through Magnum PI, and we're basically best friends.
Yeah,
thanks to the show.
Well, we met in 2 separate countries because of it.
Right, and 5-0 had an impact like that on people, and to this day, I still see a lot of familiar names that are, you know, reach out or you know, tweet or on Instagram, and it's amazing after, you know, I think, you know, it's been off the air for about 2 years now, but, you know, it was on the air for 10. So 12 years later, people are still talking about it, which is amazing.
My best friend here in Germany, she's still saved in my phone as McGarrett because she's driving like a nutter. But a good one. She's really good at driving, but I'm scared in her car all the time.
Isn't that typical McGarrett, like, personality though? Like, I'm a great driver, but I'm crazy.
I keep complaining and using my hands, so I'm definitely saved as Dano for that reason. So yeah, it has a massive impact. And something else that had a massive impact, I think, in the reboot is that you chose to make Juliet and not Jonathan. What was your motivation for that?
I felt that the original show was just you know, it was all guys. There were no, you know, women representation in the show other than, you know, guest stars. And it just didn't feel like that version of the show felt like it belonged on TV today. I wanted somebody that was really strong. You know, that Higgins character was a great foil for Magnum. And I just thought, for me, and I was a huge, massive fan of the original show and not knocking it in any way. And it was a real product of its time where there was a lot of shows with a very strong male presence. But it just felt like it needed a female, and the female had to be the Higgins character because that character was so strong and had such an influence on Magnum. And Magnum always would crumble in front of Higgins, and I liked that dynamic. And the idea was always from the beginning, if the chemistry worked, it would go in the direction of a possible romance. But if it didn't, the audience may still want that to happen, and we would maybe find a way to get there. But right from the onset, the chemistry was so strong that I think everybody suspected there was going to be something more to the friendship, which is great.
Yeah,
I love that first scene between Magnum and Higgins where they meet in the guest house and she's holding the shock collars. That is still one of my absolute favorite scenes of the whole series, I have to say. It's yeah, it hits on the humor and everything too, and you can just tell right away that relationship is gonna definitely be something to watch throughout the series, 100%.
The first scene that I've seen of Magnum PI was actually in season 1 when Higgy fought I don't remember her name, the Russian lady. First scene I see of Magnum PI is the badass lady kicking ass. So yeah, that definitely drew me in.
Yeah,
Or-
or for me, I think that you knew she was really a force when she was in the cab after getting shot.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And she's talking to Magnum. I thought that really sort of like told us a lot about who she is and how tough she is.
Yeah, very grounded and able to hold her own.
Yeah.
Especially against these guys who are all strong in their own right.
Yeah.
So, did you have any influence on the casting, or did you trust the casting directors completely?
No, they're casting. You know, when you're casting a pilot, usually it's the studio and the showrunner who make those decisions.
So
Casting gets involved for many reasons, and one of them is suggesting characters. But we'd always talked about Jay from the beginning. Purdy, we met with a bunch of actresses, great actresses. Purdy stood out. Zach was recommended by John Fox, one of the producers on the show, non-writing producers. He knew him from Happy Endings. And Steven really was the last person to be cast because we could not find somebody to play that role. Because I felt that was the heart and soul of the show, was the TC character, very much like the original show. And finding somebody who was a gentle giant, somebody who's very intimidating, but had the biggest heart. Yeah. That was hard. And Stephen Hill could not have been a better choice. He is so amazing. And he's become a really good friend because he's that guy that you see on TV. He is loyal. He's strong. He's a mentor. And he's somebody you want to spend time with. And really couldn't have been better casting all around for everybody.
And Stephen is so very kind and generous with his time towards the fans too. The things he said to us during the save touched us so much and made us, I think, made a lot of us tweet a little bit more, fight a little bit harder for this little show.
Right. And just so you know, it's very genuine. That is not somebody who needs to take the time. He does it because his heart is in it, and it's real. So that's why he's special.
Yeah, and feels like that to us every time.
Yeah, and it's like what you see on TV is this big gentle giant. That's him in real life.
Genuinely good guy.
Yeah.
That sums it up, I think.
I mean, fantastic casting all around.
Yeah. Staying on casting, actually.
What's that?
For staying on the casting note, Tim Kang and Amy Hill, who came in a little bit later. How did that work? So were they cast after the pilot, or because I'm not sure the pilot was shot before, or was there always that idea that they would be there?
We shot it. That was always in the works. Bringing those characters in. So, yeah, I mean, pretty much. I think our first choices, we sort of went with. So, and Amy turned out to be such a find also. I mean, she's such a great actress. Everybody knows. I mean, Tim proved himself on TV on a procedural before. So, there wasn't a question mark whether he was going to be great in that job. Amy came in and just like blew us away with, her character and her strength and, just her ability to make us laugh. I mean, she does everything. She's so great.
Yeah. Tim's and Amy's comedic timing are on point.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Like, hats off to you. How about Chammy? Did you always anticipate that he would be this regular and integral to the Ohana?
I think the idea was when casting him was to have some more vet. A big part of the show is representing, the military, the veteran experience. Shammy, I think the idea was whenever you bring in somebody like that, you're hoping it hits, and if it does, it becomes. But not from the beginning did we think that character was going to be so important to the show and a recurring regular. It just turns out that he did such a good job that that we just kept bringing him back. And
I have to say, the veteran aspect is something that you guys translated really well. As I'm from Germany, the veteran culture here you can't compare it to the US. So it's like one of the first shows where I really understand where it's coming from and understand what it is, compared to other shows where it's just like there and never really hits deep enough for someone who doesn't grow up in a country where it's this present. Yeah. It's just, you guys did a great job with representing that.
Yeah. I mean, it really started with 5-0 and really making a lot of connections and diving into the experience, the post-war and experience of veterans, and just honoring them, because I think that for me at least, I don't think that's done enough. And so telling those stories of veterans, that's why McGarrett's grandfather was in Pearl Harbor, and that's why there's a lot of reference to the military experience and honoring those heroes.
Yeah, I can't agree more. It's amazing. I mean, 5-0 started it, but it really hit with Magnum PI. It made me.
Magnum PI is about veterans.
Yeah,
it's really about veterans starting over. Post-war.
Yeah.
Supporting each other, and what that life outside of the uniform should be like. And it's a positive portrayal of it, just like the original. Most stories about Vietnam, the Vietnam experience was very dark and gray. The original show, Magnum PI, was a positive look at the veteran experience. And that tradition, keeping that theme alive, that thread alive, was very important when constructing the new show.
Yeah. And you guys touched on the mental health of it really early on, and also in this positive way where these guys support each other and help each other heal, which is amazing. Usually in procedurals, when you see a vet have these mental issues, it's usually the bad guy. Yeah. And this time it's the good guys, and they're supporting each other. Just really refreshing.
Yeah. It's interesting you say that, because now it's such a buzzword, mental health, in terms of it. It started so many conversations, and but we were dealing with PTS, and we were dealing with mental health amongst the military community all the way back to the beginning of 5-0, and keeping that more alive in Magnum. So that's as a writer, those are things that you take real great pride in. So thank you for recognizing that.
I love the mental health aspect in both the guys on 5-0 and on Magnum PI. I love that part. Speaking of 5-0 and Magnum PI, were you excited when the crossover finally came to be? I guess you guys had to work on that for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't, the hardest part of that was just really logistics, is making time available for both casts to interact. But that was, great line producers, great ADs on both shows who really made it happen. The fun part is writing the scripts, but that's not that wasn't complicated. The complications, excuse me, were the logistics of it all.
And you
Yeah,
handled
two
it.
huge casts and crews trying to make everything work timing wise. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Must
Yeah,
have been,
and yeah, trying to get the days done and keep both shows moving forward.
Mhm. And you did a great job. These episodes are some of my favorites.
yeah. They're a lot of fun to watch.
Right.
Did you spend a lot of time in Hawaii?
During the at 50 years, for the first 7 or 8 years, I used to be there 1 week a month, and then I got involved. Then I started doing other shows, and I was there less. I would be there as much as I could, but the trips would really only be 3-4 days, and they wouldn't be regularly. But I was always there for Sunset on the Beach, which was our big premiere. I was always there right before Christmas to hand out gifts. I was always there at like the times that was important for me to be there. But they were so well, look, I'm sure you know this. There's a lot of producers. A lot of them are writing producers, and some of them are line producers. Some of them, like just deal with logistics, scheduling, money. I really had the best team that if I had to go down there, something would have had to be really wrong, and that really never happened. So I went down mostly in the first 7 years, really just to cheerlead. Some of it was quality control because I'm a little bit of a micromanager, but I think that everybody was so good at their jobs that I didn't need to be there. Really where I needed to be was making sure that we got scripts on time, was writing and being in the editing room.
And that's in LA, right?
Yeah. And I loved going to Hawaii. I loved it. But it just felt after time that I was just going there and going to my office in Hawaii and doing the same thing I was doing in LA. Mm-hmm. So it didn't feel like it was necessary for me to go. And there's a little bit of, having your presence there, walking around on set could be very intimidating. Like, why is he here? Is there a problem? So I think it took me a long time to learn that people reacted that way. Because when the boss comes down to the shop floor, everybody thinks something's wrong. I wasn't aware of it at the beginning, but I learned to realize that being there is not always a good thing. That if you're there so regularly, people feel like you're looking over their shoulder. So, I had to learn that, and that took a while to learn that it's better to come down and cheerlead at certain times than to be there so regularly.
Did you get some downtime at least in Hawaii to enjoy yourself?
Yeah, I used to go surfing really early in the morning before work, and I used to always take people out for dinner at night. But during the day, weekends, most of the time I was editing. But I got to enjoy myself. But it's work, It's like anything. It's just the locale is just spectacular.
Yeah, it is. I just spent 5 weeks in Hawaii in winter. I didn't want to go home.
Yeah,
really
it's hard. It's hard to leave.
Yeah, nobody wants to go home.
Yeah.
What was it like doing the blessing ceremonies for 50 and then Magnum? Like, that must have been amazing culture to experience too.
Yeah. I haven't experienced anything like that. It was amazing. I always told people that anything I do after the shows in Hawaii are going to pale in comparison. And I believe so. And I think that the blessings were just another sort of bonus and something that really brought the crew together and made you feel welcome and part of a family. And obviously we did it to respect the culture and, follow the tradition, but it really brought everybody together and we all understood, I think, based on starting a show that way, how blessed we were. So how lucky we were.
Going to the culture, you've been involved in a little movie, or not so little, I see it all over Instagram at the moment, Wind and the Reckoning. How did that come to be?
That was a project that actually a lot of the 5-0 folks, a lot of the crew from 5-0 were involved in that movie. And Angie LaPrette, who was my production manager for years on 5-0, just asked me to get involved with the film. This was about 2 years ago. It was like during the height of COVID, I think that October. I didn't get to go down because everybody was quarantined. It was a great experience, and it's on the festival circuit right now and getting a lot of like recognition. So that was really getting involved in. That really was continuing the sort of for me, getting to work with a lot of the great 5-0 folks, and it was a great experience.
That's awesome. It looks like such an amazing movie, and I hope we get to see it.
It's really a powerful movie. It's interesting because it's a big part of the movie's in Hawaiian, so it's like, and I don't know another movie that exists like this, but it's like an American foreign film, which is really interesting because it's a different language, but it's an American film. So I think it's very special in that sense as well, in that regard as well.
I mean, if America is made up of more cultures than just the American culture, there's the Native Americans, there's the Hawaiians, there are all the immigrants that came in. So any language spoken in America is an American language, and it has a place in the TV and in the movies, in my opinion.
Yeah. It's just historically, we think anything in a different language is a foreign film. So, so I think that I'm hoping that this is the kind of thing that if you're going to recognize a movie, you recognize it for its uniqueness like that. So,
I sure as hell got more excited for that movie now.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be great.
Yeah. And
everybody did a great job.
That's awesome. Will it eventually come out worldwide? Do you know that?
By the way, I'll tell you something interesting. At one point, but the schedule couldn't work out, Zach was going to play a role in it.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh.
I never told anybody that. So, yeah, but there was a moment in time where Zach almost played a role in it. So
that would have been cool.
Yeah.
But now I'm excited for Henry Ian Cusick, Jason Scott Lee, and Lindsay Watson.
Yeah. They're all great.
I mean, I love them all individually, and now they're all together in that movie. I'm excited.
Yeah.
For them alone, and the movie sounds awesome.
Yeah, and you asked if it was going to play worldwide. Yeah, they're in the midst of figuring that out, of when the release date would be. Because right now they're just focused on the circuit of film festivals.
And they're getting, as you said, recognized, which is awesome.
Yeah, which is great.
That's amazing, yeah.
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 Another Magnum question. What's your favorite memory of Magnum PI, of shooting or of editing?
Favorite? Honestly, my favorite, you're asking me about memory, is not the stuff that's on screen, is the stuff behind this, it's the relationships with, the crew. And, I just went away with Steven and Zach. We went away for a few days right before filming started, and we spent about, I think it was 3 nights together. Those are my favorite times with regards to the show. Because, part of it is work, and when they go off and do the show, they're trying to juggle a lot. And the idea of us spending a few days together, and we did this the first year also. We went up to the North Shore and spent a couple nights at a resort. But that was really special. Just getting to enjoy each other, not talk about work, and just hang out and just be reminded that there's things that are more important than being in front of the camera or behind the camera. So those will always be my favorite memories. I think is the stuff off screen, or just talking to Julianne the other night. She was our set deck. Just people that were just great people, and Lance the driver, and just all these people that have come into my life and have become good friends. And those are the memories for me. I couldn't tell you plots of episodes. I've done so many, but I could tell you about moments with the cast and crew. So,
or moments with friends in this case.
Yeah. They're friends. Yeah, I mean, a lot of those people, especially the crew, I've worked with for 10 years. So
yeah, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful.
Yeah, there's that progression from 5-0 to Magnum, and
now
even for that
Reckoning.
Lost. Yeah.
That's genuinely beautiful. What's coming up for you next? I mean, RIPD?
RIPD came out, what's the 15th? Was a couple days ago, right?
Yeah, I think it was Tuesday?
Yeah, so the prequel to that movie came out
years ago. With Ryan Reynolds?
No, the first movie came out in 2013. The prequel, which is this movie, just came out on Wednesday. So it's a prequel.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So it's the young Jeff Bridges character. It's like his story. So that came out Wednesday, I guess. And then I did another movie with Liam Neeson called Marlowe. And another movie called Shelter in Solitude, small movie, really powerful small movie. And I shot a movie this summer in Bangkok called Bang. And I brought Tristan Mays, who's on MacGyver. She's in the movie, and Peter Weller. I brought a lot of people that I've worked with over the years to Thailand to do the movie, and that's just a straight-ahead action film.
Which
cool.
Yeah,
you have down to a T, as you've proven on 5-0 and Magnum multiple times.
I don't know if I do, but they're definitely fun to make. So,
and they're fun to watch.
Definitely fun to watch. Yeah.
Thank you.
I heard you're also working on another graphic novel. Is that true?
Yeah, it's been slow, but yeah, working on something. So it's been a little slow because there's a couple other projects. I'm writing a movie for Sony right now, so that's sort of taken up most of my day. So I put the novel on the side.
That's cool.
That's interesting. You know that. I don't know how you know that, but
there's a little site called Wikipedia
that I don't feel Wikipedia really. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how it's updated, but yeah, I don't know if
people updated.
Yeah. What's that?
People updated. Like anyone can just update it.
Yeah.
At leisure. Happened a lot of time. I think the most famous time when someone updated Wikipedia was a wrestler killed his entire family, and just the night before, someone announced it on Wikipedia, and it was just a prank.
Oh, wow.
And he didn't know that was happening. It was wild.
Wow. Yeah. That's crazy.
Wikipedia is edited by people, and anyone can troll it.
Wow. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Hence why I asked if it's true, because you cannot always trust Wikipedia.
No, definitely not always trust.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being on. It was awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
For sure. It was great. It was great talking to you two. Thank you.
Likewise.
And sorry, I know it took a while, but I appreciate it. So thank you.
We appreciate it a lot. And
Yeah, we really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you for sitting out the technical trouble with us.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we solved it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you guys so much. You're great. Appreciate it very much.
See you around. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Talk to you later.
Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.